Amun. Peace, 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 brothers and sisters. Gods and goddesses. I know the last time I told y'all that I wouldn't be saying brothers and sisters, but I decided to change it. Why? Because why call a whole entire race gods and goddesses when, in fact, some of you not? In fact, so many of you don't even want to recognize and try to understand why I called you gods and goddesses. Some of you you do courageous work. Some of you courageous athletes. Some of your brain capacity is highly intelligent to move us into the future. So, those are called gods, and you recognize that yourself a god, your deity understands this, don't worry. Other people who don't call me a god, they literally do that. Don't call me a god, don't call me a god. They take the word God concept and really just fly with that. All right, y'all, this is class, and this is the first time you've seen my class. I am Chocolate Amun Ra, and this is class have started. Today's class is going to be a lot different. I know only if you've seen or heard from other people who talked about it, and the message is the origin of the black and white race. The origin. Now I want y'all to get prepared. I want you to get your pencils and papers, and you got to write this down, because remember, everybody that spew out this message, it's going to be delivered differently. And I'm going to let you know you're going to have another narrator from Mentellect organization. And I told you before that I've been watching their programs, and I like a lot of their programs. So their documents, I want you to see it. I'm just the messenger. I'm the bridge, just in case so many of you have not heard of Mentellect, the organization. So I'm the bridge for you to see it and understand it. Remember one thing. Everything you think you know might not be exactly what it is. Because remember, and I'll say this clearly, you don't know nothing until somebody tells you. You're nothing but a robot, a big giant flesh of a clay that's molded, and whatever somebody put into your mind, either you're going to believe it, and most likely you will. Until you get old enough and to become more mature and to be able to fend for yourself and be able to think for yourself more than anything else. Think. If you find something that's not normal, you find something a little bit out of the norm, think for yourself. Because when you deal with certain institutions, you're just being told these things here. To walk the righteous path, to don't do evil things, and stay humble and honorable. But let's make it clear. Most of you can't. Because these are laws. These laws have been passed down. I'm Chocolate Amun Ra, and I want to say this to you, and I always say it to y'all in the majority of my my posts, my classes, all my videos. Literally, you don't have to follow me, but you can share the message. And if you do, I appreciate it. All I want is for my peoples to get the knowledge, spread the knowledge, because a lack of knowledge will destroy you. And if you can't see that, if you can't see the destruction of our people that comes in mass, it comes in mass of destruction. Because you don't want to know. You don't want to know your future You don't know what's ahead. You don't want to know what's ahead of you. So let's get into class. Peace. Oh, for all those you want to follow me on Facebook, you can follow me on Facebook as well, like that. But I do majority of my videos will be on YouTube. Okay. What's going on, everyone? Class has started. I thank you for listening to the introduction. And let me show you. Intellect, the true origin of the black and white race. Are y'all ready? Like I said before, the narrator will take over. The narrator will take over and explain. Then from there, I'm going to give you my point of views. Let's get right into it.
To a lot of our people, this topic is a hot topic. A lot of our people are curious. A lot of our people still have the question in their heads of the origin of the white man and the black and the rest of the human race, but especially the white man. Why? Because our people are controlled by white people or a white power structure in the society. And part of understanding and getting a deeper knowledge on a people is to understand the origins of these people. Everyone in the listening audience, or should be tuned into this. Anyone within earshot should be tuned into this, because I'm going to give a logical explanation of the origin of the white race, the black race, and the rest of the human race, aka mankind. We're going to speak on that and use some bits and pieces of historical fact. I am the intellectual Nuben Mentares, and this is State of Mental Radio, and tonight we're speaking about the origin of the black race and the white race. This dynamic exists here in the society, just as many other societies, and today the white race are the ruling class on the planet. Right? A lot of people say that the white race comes out of the black race. We hear it all the time. Elijah Muhammad would say that the white race, the white man came from the Asiatic black man, and some of the African paleontologists and these people, the people who did this history on the origins of people, said that life started in Africa. Right? This is what they teach, and that everybody comes from a woman named Eve. Right? Some woman who looks like a half monkey, half black woman, and that she had a prehistoric look to her. This is what they say. This is what they are talking about, right? This is the story of the origin of everything. Everybody comes from Africa, and a lot of so-called African, a lot of so-called Pan-Africanists buy into this. They buy into this story of the origin of the whole world and the planet starting in Africa, and there's only one problem with that, right? There's only one problem with that. If you're saying that the whole planet, if you're saying that life started in Africa, now, we didn't know, no one knew of an Africa, or there was no separation of continents or being called continents or being titled as continents until the Romans called it Africa, before they decided to carve up land mass and call them continents. That's an idea, that's a fairly modern idea, as opposed to the origin of the planet. That's a fairly modern idea when in relation to, origin of the planet and the people and where they came from. So if Africa and the idea of a continent came from the Romans, and them calling that place, that landmass, Africa, how is it then that you can say that life came out of Africa. There was no Africa. There was one landmass. It was a Pangea. Life started in water. So, unless you're telling me that Africa, so-called Africa, that wasn't even really defined as a continent, definitely not by our people. Unless you're telling me that Africa was underwater, or something, some landmass was underwater, and that, you know, life started there, then that might halfway make sense, but it still doesn't make sense. Like I said, the whole idea of Africa is fairly new. The Romans thought of Africa and their whole mindset of continents and cutting up land masses and things like that, as they were annexing off land and taking them as colonies, colonizing areas. They called the people in that region Africans. That name did not come from our people. We didn't think in colonial mindset. We didn't think in continents. We didn't think like that. Black people were separated in different tribes and groups and various regions. They didn't come together and call themselves Africans and that we all gonna get together. That came from the white man. Just like that nonsense about life starting in Africa came from the white man. Life started in water on this planet, when this planet was submerged in water. Right? That's where your life started. First with your animals. Actually, first with your reptiles who walk the planet. I'm going to walk chronologically through this, you know, because it's important to understand that this was all a plan that was thought out. The creation of the solar system, the creation of the earth, the moon, the creation of the animals on the planet, the reptiles, the human race, was all a thought out plan based in intelligence, higher intelligence. Who is intelligence? A God race, an advanced race. Who I've been talking about on these broadcasts, who I refer to as the Amun beings, a race of gods, a race of supreme intellectual beings, who walk the planet Earth in physical form. They walk the earth as black people, black men and black women. They are your creators of the planet. They are your creators of the solar system. They are your creators of the human race. Many of your black people that's walking the planet today are their descendants. Well, for the most part, the majority of the black race are their descendants. Some of our people have been mixed down and mixed out, and our connections been cut from these advanced beings. They created planets, worlds, and different solar systems in the universe. They were world makers. They exist in a world on a planet that is not bound by solar systems, doesn't move in a rotation but in a linear line. Straight line, a world that is a planet that's constantly moving in a linear state through the universe. Now that
gods and goddesses. I know you expect to see a film, but it ain't always so, I told you. I wanted to surprise you. I wanted to see, would you be able to sit there and listen to what the narrator was talking about? I wanted you to sit there and learn to use your ears. Now, if any one of you have not understand what the narrator is saying, I will break it down to my ability. Because I believe, you know, everybody, whoever's teaching or sending a message, when you break down, people can hear it through their frequency, if they choose it. All right, now, the reason why you see me with two different Bibles, you see me with a Holy Bible, which is the King James Version. Then you see me with the New World's Translation Bible. The reason why I got these two different Bibles is because I'm going to show you an illustration. When the narrator mentioned that they were gods and black people will walk the earth, a lot of you have not grasped the understanding how the world or the earth was one land mass. One land. Right? And if you was paying attention to the narrator, when it was clearly was told how the Romans basically gave so-called Africa its name. Well, we know Africa is named after a general which is called Africanus. Through research, you will find that out. So the Romans, when they conquered Africa to a certain point, they renamed it. Now, listen, gods and goddesses and brothers and sisters. Listen clearly. There were no white people on the planet. This is not to disrespect the white people on the planet. It's just the facts. Understand the facts. Understand that Adam and Eve's story is not real. It is not real. What a lot of people don't know is this here. These Bibles has been rewritten over and over and over again. The Bible's being rewritten to satisfy or to reconstruct to what civilization at the point in time to fit to their likeness. Like here in modern times, how many times the Bible has been rewritten? How many different organizations basically says, well, we're going to rewrite the Bible so everyone can be able to read it, right? You rewrite the Bible in different languages. Japanese, Chinese, Brazilian, Australian, English version in America. Huh? Think about it. So, any words, any sentence can be taken out and reconstructed over. Now, you heard the narrator clearly state there were gods. There were gods who was walking the earth. Right? But the Bible tells you it was one God. But let me ask you a question. Are you really reading the Bible clearly? Let's see if we can match this up. Get your pencils and papers. Let's see if we can match it up. Because see, some people think that God, Jehovah, Allah, whatever name you decide to call it, is talking to Jesus. But it never states that in the Bible. It never states in the beginning of Genesis, right, that God is talking to anyone. One specific person. Right? Let's just read the beginning real quickly. Genesis chapter 1. Get your Bible, please. I'll give you a second. Genesis chapter 1. We're gonna make a point. You have it? Okay. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Verse 2. Now the earth proved to be formless and waste, and there was darkness upon the surface of the watery deep. And God, activate force, was moved into the fore over the surface and the waters. Number 3, and God proceeded to say, let's let light come to be. Then there came to be light. 4, after that, God saw that brought about a division between the light and the darkness. 5, and God began calling the light day, but the darkness he called night. And there came to be evening, there came to be morning, and first day. 6, and God went on to say, let an expand come to be between the waters, and let divided occur between the waters. We apologize for that brief delay. Apologize. Okay, now, I was up to 6. And God went on to say, let expand come to be between the waters, and let dividing occur between the waters. And the waters. 7. Then God proceeded to make the expand and to make a division between the waters that should be beneath the expand and the waters that should be above the expand, and to came to be so. And God began to call the expand heaven. And there came to be evening, and it came to be morning the second day. 9. And God went on to say, let the water under the heavens be brought together into place, and let the dry land appear. Now, when the narrator clearly explained to you that certain people come from the water, water was first. Clear as it tells you in the beginning of the Bible, in Genesis states, water. God created the water. There's no animals, no other beings, so far as water. Okay? And God went on to say, well, let's go to 9. And God went on to say, let the waters under heavens be brought together into one place, and let a dry land appear, and it came to be so. And God began calling the dry land earth. But the bringing together of the water he called seas. Further, God saw that it was good. And God went on to say, let the earth cause grass, shoot forth vegetable and bearing, seeds, fruit trees, yielding fruit according to his kind, the seeds of which is in it, upon the earth, and it came to be so. And the earth be 12, and it began to put forth grass, vegetation, bearing seeds according to his kind, and trees yielding fruits and seeds, which is according to its kind. Then God saw that it was good. We're going to leave there at verse 13. Okay, listen here. This is part 1 of class of clearly the true origin of the black and white race. Organization is called Mentellect. The narrator will be talking, and I will give you my point of view. When we come back, part 2 of class, we'll be starting Genesis chapter 1, verses 13. Now remember, have your pencils and papers. Right now, it sounds like just one God, whoever wrote this Bible. And remember, I'm reading the New World Translation. Okay? All right. Until I see you in part 2. Hotep.
Sounds crazy.